She was very encouraging, very inspiring, and she actually motivated me. I appreciate the fact that she was so authentic and very personable, and it really made me feel like I relate to her story. What I aspire to be? Just the best version of myself.
You are listening to Unleash the Podcast, revolutionizing the way women grow, work, live, and lead. Engaging interviews, insightful book reviews, and timeless gems to aid the modern woman in excelling personally and professionally. Hosted by the multi-passionate Tabitha D. James, Unleash the Podcast not only empowers listeners, but also equips them with applicable action-based resources for daily life. Listen. Get into this Unleash replay. And if you have not gotten your ticket for Unleash Next Level, please get it now. Only if you're listening to this in real time. If you're listening to this after November 21st, none of this matters because the event will have passed and you will have to look for other offers. But be sure to go to the link in the show notes to secure your spot for the Unleash virtual experience. Only if you are looking to take your business to the next level with actionable steps, you are ready to just erase all the fluff and the just motivation and dive into applicable steps for going to the next level. Today's replay is myself and Cam the coach. Listen. Gems. Tools. Resources. Especially for those of you who may be working your 9-to-5 and building your business on the side, she has golden nuggets for you, okay? Golden nuggets. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself. We're going to get into gems. It's going to be a great chat. So without further ado, here we go. And do not forget to secure your spot for the upcoming event. And if you have missed that, still go to the link in the show notes to see what we have coming down the pipeline. Until next time, catch you later.
Hello. It has been quite some time, okay? Welcome to today's Unleash chat. I am super excited to be with Cam the coach, okay? Like me and Cam the coach about to get into these gems, this biz info, this doing it while doing a 9-to-5, this doing it young, black, and melanated. We're about to just get into it, okay?
I'm ready.
We are about to get into it. If you are not following the Unleash platform on Instagram, get your life, okay? But today we dropped these speakers, session facilitators. We dropped them on the page today. So go there, go get your ticket. If you read the caption, you will see that the more information we drop, the more the price goes up. Okay, so tomorrow we're dropping a schedule, and then Thursday we're dropping the VIP information. The more information we drop, the more the price goes up. Honestly, just check the receipts of the lineup, and that will be enough information for you to invest. And if it's not, then just keep sleeping on it. Okay, I ain't mad that you're sleeping on it, because when the price go up, whatever. But it don't matter. But for real though, if you're serious about taking your business to the next level, join us. If you want motivation, then go somewhere else, because that's not what this is about. Okay, you can get motivation anywhere. If you just want to be pumped up, this is not for you. But if you're looking for action, transparency, assistance, all that good jazz, come join us on November 21st, okay? But without further ado, we are going to get into this. So please tell us about yourself, where you're from originally, a little background, maybe fun fact, whatever you want to do for the people to get us started.
I love it. Oh my God, y'all. Tab has such amazing energy. It's Tuesday and I feel like it's Friday, but anyways. So my name is Cameron Mitchell. I also go by Cam the coach. So I own a career consulting agency called Hustle Career Consulting. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. So that's where my hustle comes from. I like to say we're a very determined and resilient community, and that's where I grew up. That's where my family's from. And then I moved to Charlotte when I was in like 8th grade. So I kind of call Charlotte my second home. And then I moved to Rock Hill when I came to school, and I went to Winthrop University, graduated with my bachelor's in human resource management. So I have a background in HR, worked for some awesome companies and did a lot of leadership experiences and things like that. and really just wanted to sew back into people and kind of help them. People were always asking me questions like, how did you do this? You know, how'd you get here in your career? You seem so successful. And I'm like, well, I'm just trying. I'm just taking the opportunities as they come and making the most of them. So that's really how I got started, was just people informally asking me, you know, hey, can you help me with my resume? Can you look at my LinkedIn? And that's how Hustle was formed. So we've been in business 1 year now, have been able to serve over 70 clients, doing workshops and speaking engagements and different things like that. And I absolutely love it. I love one-on-one relationships. So it's been wonderful.
Wow, over 70 clients in year one. And you all, please pardon any background noise if you can hear. I am in the hotel and it sounds like they are like rebuilding the hotel right now. So if you get that background noise,
I can't hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah. So, okay, you talked a little about how you got, I want to hone in on those 70 clients in 1 year, but we're going to get there. You talked about how people were asking you questions, just, you know, transparently looking for support, and you were able to help them. What made you decide that you needed to charge for that?
Yes. You come to that point. So me, I am one of those people who wants to help everybody, you know, for free. But at a certain point, you realize, hey, I've worked my butt off for this and I'm providing real value here. And it became to a point where I was no longer just having people that I knew ask me. It was, you know, I would see what I was doing on LinkedIn or just on Instagram. And I was like, okay, well, I see people doing this all the time. And I always say that it wasn't about the money for me. I charge a very affordable rate because of the clientele that I do work with, which is primarily young professionals and recent college grads. I never want money to be a hindrance to you getting the resources you need. But I know the value that I bring. So it was somewhere between those two things is where I was like, this is a business and you need to, you know, follow suit and start doing what businesses do. So that's how we came to really formalizing it and, you know, actually making it an agency.
Sounds good. Well, I'm super proud of you for doing that and doing it quickly. Like, I'm not about to be giving y'all this for free, and you find the coins for everything else. So find the coins to get your career together, or just keep getting in these busted jobs. The choice is yours.
Exactly.
The choice is yours. So what are some of your like hot services right now? What are people coming to you for? I know that, or I assume, I don't know, that with the pandemic and COVID-19 and people graduating in such an uncertain time, or people who are already kind of in their career but wanting to shift, it's just a time of high uncertainty. So what are some of your like hot services right now? What are people coming to you for?
Absolutely. So right now, obviously with the job market, how it is because of the pandemic, a lot of people are looking at, okay, either I was, you know, terminated from my last employer and I just don't know where to go from here. Or they're like, okay, well, we're furloughed, but what if they don't bring us back? So I've really been doing a lot of resume revamping and interview prep, and really focusing on right now, what are a person's transferable skills? Because I think a lot of times we, you know, like I'm an HR major, so people automatically assume I work in an HR job, but that's not necessarily the case a lot of the times. A lot of the times we have skills outside of what we graduated in or what we do on our day-to-day that might help you navigate into other areas of your career. So it's really just about finding out what a person's value is, what skills do they have, what abilities do they have, and really showing them how they express that to an employer in a way that makes impact and in a way that gets the employer to want to ask questions about them and see all the great things they can do once they bring them onto their team. So it's really, I like to say, like, I'm a confidence booster because people usually have the tool. People usually have the tools already. They just don't know how to line them up in the order that makes the most sense. Sure. That's what I do a lot of. It's just, you know, bringing out your toolbox and helping you organize it a little bit better so that we can show how great of a person and great of an employee you are. Yeah.
That's good. So you probably have to work a lot on people's mindsets because folks be not knowing their greatness. So what are some hurdles, if you will, maybe share one or two that you see most commonly with people's documents, like their resumes, or their cover letters? What is something that you see that's like, wow, a lot of people miss the ball on this particular thing?
Yeah. So a lot of times when I'm working with somebody on their resume, a lot of people have just what they did in their job. So for example, let's just use a very simple, like for an accountant, they'll say, I reconciled the finances, but that's what you did. That's not the impact you made. You may have went into this organization, saw the process that they were using to reconcile those books and found a better way to do it. You maybe have got, taken that idea to your boss and he loved it. So you didn't really just reconcile the books. You created a whole strategy behind how do we efficiently do that. And that's the statement that you need to be having on your resume, because another company might be looking at you like, oh, well, they went into their organization and did that. I wonder what they can do here. So a lot of times it's, helping people bring out what real impact did you make in that position, in that role, in that organization. That's the most common thing that I see, right, especially right now.
Yeah, it sounds good. An example I always love is like, you were not just a cashier at McDonald's. Like you handled X amount of dollars in transactions on a daily. Like you got to make that thing.
You was probably a therapist at one point. Somebody was probably ordering fries. They had a bad day and you had to calm them down. And that's a whole customer service.
Customer service expert, okay? Like you have to be able to elaborate on what you do, what you bring to the table, all that jazz. And even for my entrepreneurs out here who may be like pivoting or whatever, as you begin to take your business to the next level where you're pitching to clients, right? You got to be able to tell what you bring to them. Like nobody really cares like the 30 degrees you went and got, right? That's cute.
Right.
But what is it going to do for me?
Very expensive.
Very expensive. But what is it going to do for me in my business? What is it going to do for me in my company? What is the change that's going to happen as a result of me working with you?
Exactly.
Like, what is it? What is it? Like, so you all get that gem from Coach Cam. Like, speak your value. Okay. Speak your value. So let's switch back to, the business structure side. And if you could go back 6 months, so it is September. So 6 months ago was March, right at the crack of this Rona. Okay. What would you tell yourself as a business owner if you could just go back, hindsight, and be like, yeah, this is it.
You did this, girl. You should have did this from the beginning. So obviously when COVID started, I got an increase in clients very quickly, which was, good for business, but it really made me look at, okay, what are my processes? So in coaching, you obviously work with clients on a one-on-one basis. For example, when I said I did 70 clients this year, that means I had to make 70 phone calls at least. That's just a one-time thing, right? So you got to start thinking about, okay, how do I not get burnt out on those? How do I create systems within what I use already? And I always say, it doesn't have to be a paid thing. One of the best things I've done that for free is I have email templates and I keep them in the drafts of my emails of my Gmail account. And I just go in and I look at the draft and I say, oh, okay, I need to send a confirmation email. I go in and copy and paste that. And it just makes it so much easier. And, if I ever decide to expand my team and help, bring on somebody to help me do that, the content is already there for them to do that. I don't have to recreate it. So I think, as an entrepreneur, it's just really about, especially if you're an entrepreneur of one, it's really about maximizing the systems that you use currently, and just thinking through your process. How do I interact with every client? How do I want the client to feel after we interact? Just think about your system, and how can you optimize that? So that would be.
Are you taking systems clients? Because, at this point,
you do business strategy as well. So if y'all want that, we can get into that.
listen, at this point, Tavia is in the comments saying Kim is so great with helping create systems. She has helped my company so much. So yes, Tavia, I am mad you did not share her with me earlier, but we will get into that offline. We will get into that offline. Okay, business owners, create your systems. Create systems that can work if you got a call and you need to call a friend like, hey, send out these emails for me. You already have the templates, right? Exactly. Or if you're like, oh my God, I'm head over heels. It's time for me to get an assistant, a virtual assistant, something. You already have something for them to work with and to build upon.
What you don't want to do is have somebody come in and not give that same energy, that same professionalism that you'll get if you're working directly with me, right? So I don't want you to even know that I'm not the one sending emails.
Right.
And it might happen because I am one person, right? But you don't want your business to be impacted by that. And I think that goes back to, you know, you are the business, but the business is not you, right? So
say it
again. You are the business, but the business is not you. So if you left tomorrow, you need to be able to make sure that business is going to stay because that business is your legacy, right? So do what you need to do to make sure that your baby goes on, even if you can't be the one to really be there in that moment, for sure.
Listen, and that's it. That is that on that, y'all. Yes. Ooh, that's a gem. That is a gem. That's a gem. That's a gem. So let the audience know, how can they reach you? How can they work with you? You spoke to a lot of your clientele being early professionals, new professionals. But let's get into how we connect. How do we work with you? Where do we find you? Let's drop all that magic.
So my Instagram is @CamTheCoach. The "the" is with 2 E's, like the stallion. I did that on purpose. I'm also 6 feet tall, so I was real happy when Meg came out. But my Instagram for my business is @Hustle Career Co. So you can follow me on there. And then also definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I post a lot of content on there just about what I'm doing in the community if you ever want to get involved or anything like that. But if you want to work with me with a client, you can visit my website at hustlecareerco.com. It'll tell you a little bit more about who I am, the services I offer. I kind of have 2 ways you can work with me. So the first is just either a resume redesign, a LinkedIn profile optimization, or a cover letter, which is something we just have a phone call about and I can kind of do on my own. But if you want a more in-depth conversation, you want to really get your questions answered, we can do a one-on-one session. And I have a variety of sessions that we can do, anywhere from interview prep to job search strategy if you don't even know where to start, to business strategy if you're an entrepreneur. So that's kind of something special about my agency. We work with people who are in the 9-to-5 field, but also entrepreneurs. So, and kind of if you're in the space like I am and you're doing both, you know, how can you make those tie together? How can you really efficiently use your time to make sure that you're not lacking in each one? So go to my website or just send me a DM on Instagram on either of my pages. I will definitely get back to you away.
Yes, love it. Here for it. Cam, I hope that you're coming to the Unleashed virtual event on the 21st. You know, listen, I hope you are. I might need Hustle Career Consulting to be a sponsor. Like, we need people to know how to make that balance of, you know, 9-to-5 and entrepreneurship. For the vast majority of my beginning stages, that's what I was doing. And it's easy to burn out.
Yep, very true.
It's easy to neglect one or the other, right? And you don't want to neglect your legacy building, but you also don't want to neglect the coin that's helping to create the legacy building. So it's right. You have to find a happy middle and think through, how long do you plan to do this? Or is this going to be like you want to do both? Some people love what they do. So it's really some thought. Get at her.
I got you. I always say, you know, when we say you have to find that happy middle, that middle does not look like 50-50 for everybody. And I think you have to create your own balance, right? So for me, I am actually an executive assistant to the vice president of a manufacturing company, and they're based in Germany. So a lot of what I do, I can do kind of at night if I need to. I'm obviously available during the day, but a lot of things I can do independently. So what do I do at that time? I can use it to work on my business. So some days it's 70-30, some days it's the opposite, you know, the opposite way, but it's finding what balance works for you. And I think that goes back a little bit to optimizing your systems, right? If your systems are in place with your business, you know that you don't have to always be on for that. You know that, okay, when I get a client, I do these steps, right? And you don't have to really put a lot of mental energy into just setting up the call. But then on the work side of it, the career side of it, you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your job, right? So for example, my job offers a training allowance, right? So one of the trainings that I want to do is public speaking. And yes, it goes directly with my job, but it also goes to my career consulting, right? So using little things like that to just pour back into your business while you're still working is key. You know, if you have a manager that knows you're doing both, like my boss does, you know, ask them questions about what they're doing. You know, he's the vice president of a company. Of course, I'm going to go to him and be like, hey, like, how do y'all solve this? You know, like, what is your sales process looks like? And he is completely fine with me doing that. So I think it's kind of, but you have to have a very special relationship for that. Don't go to your boss if y'all are not cool like that. You just started and you like, hey, I'm just here to get my check so I can pour it back into my business. No, you need to build that relationship, which is a whole nother thing. But that's gonna sum up that part of that for me.
listen, it's so much. But building those relationships, and you never know. There's an entrepreneur that I follow, and she talks about how like her old job is like one of her biggest clients because there was such a great relationship. And as a business owner, you have to stay current to the times. And right now, corporations are looking for small Black or minority-owned, LGBTQA+ owned businesses to partner with. So position yourself in such a way that you are able to be partnered with. And if you left good relationships along your career journey, it makes it much easier.
And I'll tell you, if you work in an environment where you know, you see different things. So in my job, I see contracts being executed all the time. So now when I go do my contracts for working with businesses, you know, I'm like, oh, I need to put this in because you got to think like these companies are huge. My company has been around for 90+ years. They're doing something right. So I need to do what I need to do in my daily job and you know, bring some of that back, right? Like I can't just be, have to always be thinking about how do we maximize our time, right?
Yes.
My time looks like me doing well in my 9 to 5, but then thinking about what I learned from that and being reflective about what I was doing during that time so I can pour back into hustle. So I think that's another thing that you can just do. You know, you can start that today. What am I working on and what skills am I getting from that and how can I pour that back into my business? That's the part.
You can do. That's the part. Yeah. And I think that a lot of times people sleep on the opportunity to learn just what you said. Your company that you work for has been around for over 90 years, correct? You are working directly with the VP. And since you have a relationship, you're able to get best practices. But let me just tell y'all, even if you didn't have a relationship, just take notes. My first job, 17 years old, was at McDonald's. I was always wondering, like, why do you want to keep labor costs low? What does that mean? What does it mean to be overstaffed? You know, what are questions that I can ask? How do y'all build out this schedule? Like, how do you make, you know, how far in advance do you do it? Just very inquisitive because I knew I was going to get ready to go to school for business, but I knew every single position I worked at, from McDonald's to Waffle House to Marriott to colleges and institutions, all nonprofits, everybody. I'm gonna take the best practices because if you can do it big, I can do it small.
Exactly.
And so how do I take those gems, those learning experiences, those processes, those contracts, those ways to communicate with people? How do I take that, what I've learned from that, and apply it into my business? Exactly. Training allowance. How do I make sure that I'm getting skills that are transferable? Yes. Okay. Yes. People ask me all the time, like when my business was not doing too well, if they, things go wrong, what happens? I'm hireable, so I don't really care.
Right. If anything, I know I can find another job.
If anything, I know I can find a job, and a darn good one at that. And something I spoke about in my book, and yes, I'm going to shameless plug the book. Something I spoke about in my book is getting your toolbox together. Young Black women, I mean anybody, but especially my young Black women, get your toolbox together. Your toolbox part that has your skills in it, and your support bag that has people in it. Because if who you know knows what you know, you can get opportunities. Okay, so stop sleeping on the ability to invest in yourself, because you listening to two women that, I mean, we could leave current position, business, whatever, and be good the next day.
Exactly.
Tomorrow.
That brings so much. This is a whole nother conversation, but that brings so much freedom into your life to be able to say, I can leave my job tomorrow and I know I'm still good. And I don't want to do that personally. I love my job. I love the relationship. Right. But to have that freedom to know that you can do that just releases so many pressures and anxieties off of you. So to get to that point is something I think we should all strive to do, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You were saying about McDonald's. My first job was hostessing at like a restaurant when I was in high school. And I learned some of my best customer service skills from that job. People yelled at me, cussed at me. Yep. So now I'm super adaptable. I know how to handle almost any type of person that's gonna come.
Anybody. I served my way through undergrad and graduate school. You really can't come to me with nothing that's gonna really like
throw me off. Exactly.
No, it's not gonna throw me off. It's not gonna bother me. Working hard now looks so much different than working hard then. So it's just like, listen, try it if you want to. And I'm going to do it with a smile. I am going to tell you off with a smile.
Exactly. And I'm going to come correct.
I'm coming correct. So, yeah, listen. Well, it is 12:35, you all. So I do not want to prolong lunchtime. We might have to come back. Because we have a lot to discuss. We have a lot more to talk about.
Yes, for sure.
All the links. I have dropped all the links. I mean, Instagram, Linktree, LinkedIn, website. All the links are in the comments, so you can get with Cam the coach. Be sure to follow her platforms. Even if you're not ready to invest, she drops a lot of valuable content for you and the way that you can up-level your skills and the way you speak about your skills. If you are ready to invest, I'm on the site now, and I am telling you that at any budget line, you can afford these services. So invest in yourself. Skip dinner, skip coffee, do whatever you need to do so that in the long term you can own the coffee shop. Okay.
Exactly.
You got to make small sacrifices for ultimate success. So thank you, Cam. I want to thank you for being on the platform today. This was delayed, but not denied. Okay.
Not denied. Well, thank you so much. It was amazing to be on here with you today, and I hope I dropped the gems that y'all wanted for sure.
And did. All right, you all have a great day.
She was very encouraging, very inspiring, and she actually motivated me